Hi, friends. Welcome back and happy May. So, this stream was supposed to be last Sunday, I believe. And let's just say everything went crazy the last week or so. But we're here today and we're going to start with organizing here in May. And I don't have my next schedule up, but that'll be coming up very soon. Today, we're going to talk about organizing. I have not received any questions, but if any come in, I will let you know how I organize something. I am very excited to say that almost all of my craft room is organized. The only things that are left are right here. So from here to here is what I need to organize, and basically most of it just needs to go into my catalog system. A little bit of it needs to be stamped and die cut out and then put in my catalog system, and a little bit goes in the paper system. So it's not a lot, and I'm very close to having everything organized. And I have this camera right here on just my catalog because that's what we're talking about today, but everything else is in its proper place, and I'm very excited. And if I can get that little bit left organized, will be good. So I thought I'd talk through kind of how I organize my stamps and stencils. And I've mentioned this a little bit before, but the reason I started doing this is I had so many different, what are they called? Sentiments. So it started with sentiments, and I just had a zillion of them. If you've started collecting any kind of stamps or dies, I'm sure you know what I mean. Especially with the stamps, they always come with sentiments, different shapes, different sizes, but there's so many of the same, like thank you. I have so many thank yous and hello and you, and I just kept buying more sentiment stamps because I kept being like, I don't have what I don't know where to find, a thank you. So I'll just get this sentiment stamp. And anyway, it's just a whole thing. So I started with stamping out all my sentiments, and then I decided if I was stamping all my sentiments, that I might as well just stamp everything and create a whole catalog of everything. And that kind of turned into this monster. So depending on the size of your system, it might take a little bit of time to do something like this, but I can tell you it is 100% worth it. I've stopped buying duplicates. I've stopped buying things that hey, I have stuff that say that. I have stuff that I need. I don't need that. And you kind of see where there's holes within your collection, what things you use, what things you don't use, what you want to get more of, what you can look at and appreciate but not get. So that's kind of the whole goal of the catalog system. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk through today and just give you kind of a super brief going through how this works. So let me switch over here. The first thing is you need a stamp, die cut, spray through your stencil, somehow make an impression, a sample impression. So here's a new stamp set that I've got, and actually sometimes you get really lucky like this one, and you can see everything is perfectly in or almost to size here. So I think what I'll do is I'll just use this. But normally what I would do is I'd peel this off. I usually just leave everything on the carrier sheet because it's easier to do this. What I do is I will stamp, put some, this is brand new, so I'd probably clean it off with my hand a little bit to get the stickiness off because it's a really nice high quality polymer stamp, so it has that sticky factor. I put some ink on it, black ink, and then I just stamp it down like that, pull it up, and by each item, I would notate wherever in my system I'm going to keep it. So let's jump back here. Right here below my catalog, you can see all my stamping storage. So those, I have over here. I have extra ones because a few months ago, I moved all my dies out of the storage system and into a slightly different storage system. So I have a bunch that are already labeled, but if I didn't have them that were labeled, I would just grab a new one, label it with whatever box I needed next. And I would note, and we can actually do this next step because I think we'll go ahead, put this in O14. And what that means is this is in the orange 1 box, and it's number 14. And if we grab a pen, here we go. What I would just start doing is O114. O114. And I'm going to group things into where they're going to go in my system. So this guy is going to go in my animal section. Oops, let me show you. This guy is going to go in my animal section. These are going to be buildings or scenery. So O114, O114, and O114. And I'll probably just cut some of these out. So O114, and that'll go with that. So next thing we'll do, it looks like there are 1, 2, 3. I'll get 3 out for right now. 3 different groupings of things that we need to capture. Now, before I cut this up too much, let me capture this 1, 1, 2, 7. Because I think that 1, 1, 2, 7 might get cut off, and that's going to be important later. So let's cut out this guy. And as you can tell, I'm not worrying about everything being super perfect. I just need to get enough of a gist of what the stamp is to put it into my catalog. The catalog is not something that needs to be perfect, right? There's some things that you do and you want it to be perfect, and this is not one of them. So let's take this little guy, and somewhere I have ink, and it's not there. I have glue, I promise. Oh, I just reorganized a few things in my craft room, and that always throws me off. But it should be about here. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to grab some glue and just glue this guy down. It doesn't have to be glued to Kingdom Come. I probably way over glued that, but just enough. And I'll put him like this. Now, perfect. There we go. The next item, we can do some of these little houses. And I'll just put them all together because they don't matter. Like, I don't need an individual one for each of them because they're all about the same size. Will all go together and it'll save a lot of space as opposed to trying to do them individually. Okay. Here we go. I did think this stamp set was super cute, and this is all in Create. I got this from my local craft store, and I thought it was such a cute. I love giraffes. I love the tiny village. I thought it was such a cute idea to put the giraffe in the village together, but it's also wonderful that you can stamp it apart. So there we go. And it doesn't have a zillion sentiments, which bothers me a lot now because I have plenty of sentiments. It has to be an amazing sentiment for me to be like, I need that sentiment, because now that I have everything stamped out, I know how many sentiments I have, and it's like, I don't need that. Okay, let's do this. And for this one, we'll just put it on half. We'll try and focus on just half. And we'll grab the big one first. Easy. This is something so easy you can do while watching TV. Now, there we go. Glue. And let's get glue on the back of all of these. Glue them down quickly. And I'll probably just put the rest off to the side because you get the gist on those. I'll create 3 more stamps and we'll be good. But the one thing I do want you to remember when you're doing this, and like I said, exactly the same way I would do this if I, let me just put this guy like that. Okay, then what I'll do is I'll cut this down the center. And let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, I'll save this for later and I'll do the rest of the stamp. But I do want to keep this up here. Actually, while I'm doing this, I also want to put 01.14. And the reason will become clear in just a second. So, we've got through step 1, which tends to be my hardest step, which is stamping and die cutting the stencil. Step 2 is put it in the organization system. We have already done that. That's what we did here. Now, at this point, I could put this in my organization system fully, which you can, as a reminder, is right down underneath my catalog. But I'm going to put another stamp in there. So we'll put that back. Then number 3, note the organization number. We just did that. Next, we're going to organize our samples. So I tend to just have a box of samples that over time builds up. Then that's fine. Once it gets to about here, I want to start putting it into my catalog. So I do that in 2 ways. The first step is to organize them into the different catalog separations. The different things I put stuff in my catalog. So if we go over here, you can't really tell because it's so small, but I have like baby, wedding, your day, best wishes, congrats, themes and sentiments. So all of that, in the different sections, I want to organize everything so that when I go to actually put it in the catalog, I'm not flipping through the catalog a zillion times. So let's do that for this one, the one we just did. Now, I would look through and I would say, okay, these 2 that we just did are going to be animal. So nature, scenery is 1, animals is 2. Now, so let's go and find nature and then animals. And this is hard, but you might be able to see it if I do it like this. I'm just going to go, it's going to be near the back people, butterflies, sky, flower, scenery. The next one should be animals. So I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to flip that in, drop that down. Oops. Next, we have this one, which can really either be scenery or home. I think I'm going to go with scenery because they're so small. It's really more to create scenery. So I just have to flip back up one and drop it in. There we go. Now, I need to do the rest, but I can do that while watching TV. And I don't want y'all to have to sit and watch this forever. We're kind of past what I was hoping to get all done, and I was thinking we could do this all in like 15 minutes, but it just takes a little bit of time, but it's very easy. Then once you organize the samples, you add the samples into the catalog. So if we go back over here, I would go to scenery. I would honestly just go through one all the way through and then get to scenery, but I'm gonna put that right there so I remember where I am. Put this back where it needs to go. I'd grab out all my scenery stuff. I go, okay, let's go over to scenery. Oh, I've gone too far. Here we go. Trees, a little bit further back. Foliage, animals. So we're in scenery now. And I have a couple different sizes. And you can see for this one, it's just half a size. So we want to go somewhere really small. So I think I'll do right here. And I try and keep some open so that as I add new stamps in, it's pretty easy. Every once in a while, I have to add a new page and I might have to adjust things a little bit, but it's just that simple. So we've added the sample into the catalog, and the very final thing I do, and this is probably the part that's not as critical, but just in case, so if anybody asks what I'm using, I do like to keep a list of everything that I have and what it matches to. So, for example, you remember a few minutes ago we were looking at that. Let's go here, and here is my Excel where I capture all of the products that I have in my system. And I'm going to add, so the product name, it looks like it's number 1127. Number 1127. This is a stamp. And if I have a stamp and an associated die cut, I would just put stamp because the die cut really only matters if it's a stamp. I'd also put that in with the stamp as opposed to in my die cutting, my die specific storage. This one is all and create. If there's a specific designer, like sometimes Tim Holtz or something like that, Jane Davenport, something I want to capture specifically, I'll add the designer. But otherwise, the last thing I typically do is put the storage ID in. And this is that 0114. There we go. Simple as that. And that's how my catalog system works. So simple, so easy, not not at all difficult. I think that's everything I wanted to go through on today's live stream. I'll do another organization where I show some of my media and stuff like that. But for today, I just wanted to go through the catalog system because it has helped me so much. I feel very strongly about it, and I just wanted to share that out into the world if that's helpful for you. If you have any questions, I will definitely be doing another one of these. Any type of question on anything you're struggling to organize or store, I'm happy to help you with that. Just add it in a comment below and we can talk about it on the next one. So that was today's stream. Our next stream, I'm not 100% sure about. I do really want to finish this Enchanted Forest page, so that might be Thursday. I also need to pick all the stuff out for May, which I have not done yet, but I'll try and get that done by Thursday so I can share that out as well. I hope you guys have an amazing crafty weekend, crafty